Hello, everyone. Today we'll be reading from Grimm's Fairy Tales. Today's tale will be The Poor Boy in the Grave. Once upon a time, there was a poor shepherd boy whose father and mother had died, and the authorities placed him in the house of a rich man who was supposed to feed and raise him. However, the man and his wife had wicked hearts, and even with all their wealth, they were miserly and envious of others. When anyone took even a little bite of their food, they became upset. Hence, no matter what the poor boy did, he received more beatings than he received food to eat. One day he was to look after the hen with her chicks. However, she sneaked through a hedge with her young ones, and a hawk suddenly swooped down upon her and carried her away through the air. The young boy screamed with all his might, "Thief! Thief! Scoundrel!" But what good did that do? The hawk did not bring back his prey, but the man heard the noise, ran outside, and when he saw that the hen was gone, he fell into a rage and gave the young boy such a thrashing that the youngster could not move for the next few days. Then he had to watch the chicks without the hen, and that situation was even more difficult because the chicks ran all over the place. So he thought he would do a smart thing and tie them all together with a string so the hawk would not be able to steal any of them away from him. He was very much mistaken, however. A few days later, when he was exhausted from running around and from hunger, he fell asleep. The hawk came then and snatched one of the chicks. Since the others were attached to it, the bird carried off all of them together, and he landed on a tree and swallowed them. Just then the farmer returned home, and when he saw the misfortune, he became angry and beat the young boy so mercilessly that the youngster had to lie in bed for many days. When he was up on his feet again, the farmer said to him, "You're too stupid for me. I can't use you as a chicken keeper, so you'll have to be my messenger." Now the man sent him to carry a basket full of grapes to the judge, and a letter as well. Along the way, the boy became so terribly overcome by thirst and hunger that he ate 2 of the grapes. After he brought the judge the basket, the judge read the letter, counted the grapes, and said 2 are missing. The young boy confessed quite honestly that he had been driven by hunger and thirst to eat the 2 that were missing. The judge wrote a letter to the farmer and ordered the same amount of grapes again. And again the young boy was given the chore of carrying the grapes with a letter to the judge. When he again became terribly hungry and thirsty, he could not help himself and once again ate 2 grapes. However, before doing so, he took the letter out of the basket, placed it under a stone, and sat upon it so that the letter could not see and betray him later. Nevertheless, the judge took him to task on account of the missing grapes. "Ah," said the young boy, "how did you discover this? The letter couldn't know because I placed it under a stone before eating the grapes." The judge had to laugh at such simple-mindedness and sent a letter to the man in which he warned him to treat the poor boy better and to give him more food and drink. Also, he advised the man to teach him the difference between right and wrong. "I'll soon show you the difference," the hard man said. "If you want to eat, you must also work. If you do something wrong, you'll be taught sufficiently through beatings." The following day, the farmer gave the boy a difficult job to do. He was told to cut several bundles of hay to feed the horses, and the man threatened him by saying, "I'll be back in 5 hours, and if the hay is not chopped into fine pieces by that time, I'll beat you until you can't move a bone in your body." The farmer went to the fair with his wife, servant, and maid, and left only a small piece of bread for the young boy, who sat down at the seat for chopping hay and began to work with all his might. When he became hot, he took off his little coat and threw it onto the hay. Fearing that he would not be finished on time, he kept on cutting, and in his zeal he mistakenly chopped up his little coat with the hay. He became aware of the mishap much too late, and therefore could not repair the damage. "Ah," he exclaimed, "now it's over for me. That wicked man doesn't make idle threats. When he returns and sees what I've done, he'll beat me to death. I'd rather take my own life." The young boy had once overheard the farmer's wife say, "I have a jar of poison underneath the bed." However, she had said this only to keep away people with a sweet tooth, for the jug was filled with honey. The young boy crawled onto the bed, brought out the jar, and ate it all up. "I don't know," he said. "People say that death tastes bitter, but I find it sweet. No wonder the farmer's wife has so often wished she were dead." He sat down in a small chair and was prepared to die. But instead of becoming weaker, he felt himself strengthened from the nourishing meal. "It must not have been poison," he said, "but the farmer once said that there was a little bottle of poison for the flies in his clothes closet. That will probably be real poison and will bring about my death." However, it was not poison, but Hungarian wine. The young boy took the bottle out and drank it empty. "This death also tasted sweet," said he. But soon after, when the wine began to mount to his brain and make him dizzy, he believed his end was approaching. "I feel I'm going to die," he said. "I'll go out to the churchyard and look for a grave." He staggered forth, and when he reached the churchyard, he lay down in a freshly dug grave and felt he was losing his senses more and more. Nearby was a tavern where a wedding was being celebrated. When he heard the music, he thought he was in paradise and lost all consciousness. The poor boy never awoke again. The shock of the potent wine and the cold frost of the night took his life, and he remained in the grave in which he had laid himself. When the farmer received news of the young boy's death, he was terrified and feared he would be taken to court. Indeed, the fear took such a powerful hold on him that he sank to the ground and passed out. His wife, who was standing at the hearth with a pan full of fat, ran out to help him, but the flames spread from the pan and set the entire house on fire. It was but a few hours before the house lay in ashes. During the rest of their lives, the farmer and his wife were tormented by a guilty conscience and spent their days in poverty and misery. Well, that was something, and I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for visiting my channel. Hope you have a wonderful and spooky day. Thank you. Bye-bye.